STEADFAST JAZZ is one of a series of steadfast exercises where every year we test our NRF. The NRF, of course, is that pinnacle, that spear always ready to go in NATO, 13,000 or so, but a high-tech, hard-hitting, completely expeditionary capability to go to do the jobs that NATO needs it to do.
How important are U.S. forces to an exercise like this?
We haven't had a deployed presence like this in the past. Our president has committed to keeping one rotational force here as a part of this exercise from the future, from the 1st of the 1st Cav in the States. And remember that every echelon of NATO command and control, Americans are embedded in that. And quite frankly, this is a plus up and begins a series of commitments as we have now a rotational unit that will always be a part of this exercise in the future.
What about the impact of budget?
Clearly, every nation is a sovereign nation, and they're going to make the decisions that they have to about budgets. And I think clearly we all feel as we come out of Afghanistan that there's going to be a natural desire to maybe constrict those budgets. But what we want to do is use smart defense and other things to guide us. All of our nations are given goals as we go forward in NATO so that the investments we do make can be smart, fill in the gaps where we're thin.
What about the role in Afghanistan? Do you have a better feel for what the final figure for NATO will be?
The Loya Jirga should go very soon, maybe even this month, mid-month. Once the Loya Jirga approves our BSA and we get the NATO SOFA started, then I think you'll start to see the nations solidify their numbers.
So with the American shift to the Pacific, what does that do for your plans here? What
we have said is we're going to shift our focus. No forces will leave Europe and go to Asia. We should take that right off the table. And we could not even begin a more detailed look at Asia without the strong partnerships that we have in NATO, the capability that we have. This alliance right now operates very well together. Our cohesiveness, as I said, our capabilities, our tactics, techniques, and procedures are so strong that that allows us all to begin to focus a little more on Asia.
Sir, what is your vision for the future of NATO?
In Afghanistan, as the ISAF mission comes down and the number of troops trail off towards the end of 2014 and we change over to the Resolute Support mission, it will be a smaller mission. It will be an enduring mission for a while. We have made commitments to the Afghan people and the Afghan army, and that's a good thing. But what we need to now look at is what is it that holds NATO together? For some decades, we had the Warsaw Pact. Then we transitioned into many of our nations participating in a coalition in Iraq. And then for the last 12 years, we've had an actual NATO mission in Afghanistan. So right now, our cohesiveness, our interoperability is the best it's ever been. So what happens as we come out of Afghanistan so that we don't lose that cohesiveness? And I think you see the beginning of it right here in this exercise. What we have said is that our exercises, our training, and our education process will have to be that core that holds us together until we come to our next mission. I think as we reduce the size of the forces in ISAF, we have to now grow our participation in these exercises. Exercises are not cheap, so our nations are going to look at ways that we can bundle national, multinational, and NATO exercises together to get the size and complexity that we need, and we should then grow ours.
How do you keep those combat skills sharp and in place?
Well, I think that what we have to do is what we've done in the past. In between every war we've ever had, we've faced just this conundrum. There is no threat. We've just had the war to end all wars. How do we prepare? Well, history teaches us a lesson that if we're not ready for it, we're doomed to repeat it. And so what we need to do as military men and women is to make sure we keep a focus on being ready for the next exercise. Some skills are quickly regained. Some skills are not quickly regained. In the high-tech fight that we're involved in today, we need to keep a smooth capability through the next year so that if we're called on, we can rapidly react. The challenge is that we will all have to focus on maintaining that cohesiveness, maintaining that compatibility after ISAF. We have had a period of counterinsurgency warfare What we have not had a period of is high-intensity conflict. What you saw out there on the battlefield today was high-intensity conflict. And I think that's the challenge now, to begin a training regimen that better readies us for the mission that we have not been doing for the last 12 years. Certainly fighting together in Afghanistan has brought us together and built cohesiveness. Now we need to transfer that also into the high-end fight.
Sir, how do you sum up this exercise?
What you saw out there today was some pretty proud troops from 20 nations acting almost seamlessly together. It looked easy. It is not. The way they sort the weapons, the way they move forward on the battlefield, the way they target, it's a very delicate dance and a high-end business. And what you also didn't see was there's a lot of one shot, one kill going out there. Very intelligent fire, knocking down the target on the first run. These soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines that practice today, they're good because they practice together. And that's what NATO's all about, being together, collective defense, ready for the next fight.